Hello, my fellow minor league nerds, and welcome to episode 3 of my Throwback Thursday Cap of the Day series. This week, I will be talking about the very short-lived San Juan Marlins. The team played in the International League for 1 month in 1961, but the history of the franchise can actually be traced back to 1918 and the Jersey City Skeeters. They would spend 16 seasons in the Garden State before moving to Syracuse in 1934 to become the first incarnation of the Syracuse Chiefs. They would spend 22 seasons in the Salt City, and this is where the story of the Marlins begins. The Chiefs, who were affiliated with the Philadelphia Phillies, hadn't been drawing well their last few seasons. In December 1955, they were sold to new owners, one of which was Sidney Sullivan, future owner of the NHL St. Louis Blues. The team would be moved to Miami and renamed the Marlins, staying affiliated with the Phillies. The team would later be sold to multimillionaire Bill McDonald, who would eventually also own the Tampa Tarpons of the Florida State League and the Portsmouth-Norfolk Tides of the South Atlantic League. At the beginning, the team was a hit. Over the next 5 years, though, the shine wore off as they would play mediocre ball and attendance dwindled. McDonald would blame the lack of a local radio deal for the team's attendance woes. McDonald began shopping around to find a new city in which to move the team. He looked at Norfolk, Virginia, somewhere in Georgia, most likely Savannah, or even possibly going back to Syracuse, before settling on San Juan, Puerto Rico, where he was able to secure a lucrative radio and TV deal. In November 1960, at the International League winter meetings, the move to San Juan was approved. There was also talk about moving a team, possibly the Montreal Royals, to Caracas, Venezuela. The belief was that moving the team to Puerto Rico would help strengthen the league, since the island was crazy about baseball. Drawing over 300,000 fans for an average of more than 4,000 per game seemed achievable. The team didn't waste any time signing local talent, as 3 Puerto Rican players were signed within 2 weeks of the announced move. A strong team with good local talent would help lead to those attendance goals. Not all were thrilled with the idea of the Marlins coming to Puerto Rico. Pedro Vasquez, president of the Puerto Rican Winter League, was afraid the Marlins' arrival would destroy his league. He was determined to fight the move in court if necessary. Ultimately, he was unsuccessful in stopping the move. Before the move to San Juan was announced, the Marlins signed a new affiliation deal with the St. Louis Cardinals, who would stock the team with several top prospects, including 19-year-old catcher Tim McCarver, shortstop Dal Maxville, and pitcher Ray Washburn. Joe Schultz, who had managed 3 different Cardinals farm teams in the previous 3 seasons, was hired to lead the team. He would later go on to manage the Seattle Pilots in their one and only season in 1969. The Marlins began the season on April 17th with a 4-2 victory over the Toronto Maple Leafs in front of 6,627 fans at Sixto Escobar Stadium. Iram Bithorn Stadium, where they were expected to begin play in 1962, was still under construction at the time. The game had the unfortunate pleasure of taking place the same day as the start of the Bay of Pigs invasion. Attendance after that first night dropped. They drew an average of 1,524 fans through their first 11-game homestand, 430 less than what they drew during the same time period in Miami in 1960. 2 weeks into the season, other clubs began to complain about the high travel costs to San Juan, and the International League demanded that McDonald return the team to the mainland. He refused to consider a move, though the team did meet with Miami officials to discuss moving back to Miami Stadium. Eventually, it was agreed to give the fans of San Juan one more chance with the upcoming homestand. Fans, though, did not show up. There were complaints that tickets were too expensive for most fans. Also, being affiliated with the Cardinals, who weren't too popular on the island, didn't help. If they were affiliated with, say, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they might have drawn better. On May 18th, McDonald agreed to move the team, but instead of returning to Miami like most expected, or going to Montreal, who had just lost the Royals to Syracuse, who became the second incarnation of the Chiefs, he decided to move to Charleston, West Virginia. The capital of the Mountain State had lost its AAA American Association team to the Charleston Senators 5 months earlier when they folded. The city was so eager to get a pro team back that they offered McDonald a $1 lease at Watt Powell Park and a $75,000 radio deal. The team became the Charleston Marlins, debuting on May 19, 1961, falling to the Jersey City Jerseys 5-4 in 10 innings in front of 3,608 fans. The next night, they would get their first victory in Charleston with a win over the Jerseys 8-3. The Marlins would finish in second place in the International League with an 88-66 record. They would get knocked out of the playoffs in the first round by eventual league champions, the Buffalo Bisons. Not long after the season ended, there were rumblings that the Marlins were going to move once again. Montreal or Atlanta looked to be their destination. McDonald claimed the weather was an issue, but Charleston was one of the smallest AAA markets in the city. He decided to move the team to Atlanta, where they played as the Crackers for 4 seasons before the Braves came to town from Milwaukee for the 1966 season. The Crackers were then moved to Richmond, Virginia to become the Richmond Braves. Today, the team is known as the Gwinnett Stripers. The International League would never again play in the Caribbean. Well, my fellow nerds, that's it for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe so that way you'll get notifications about every time a future episode is uploaded. As always, thank you very much, stay safe, and I will talk to you next time.